What's going on, y'all? It's Michelle URL here with Untwisting the Game Crypto, where we talk Bitcoin, Polkadot, Cardano, NFTs, and of course the metaverse and AR and VR, and kind of aligning with those topics in a previous live. I mentioned that I was doing a little bit more reading on dystopias, right, and tech dystopias, because in a live where I was talking about hyper reality and AR and VR, and we have alter ego on television, all of these things that I've covered, there's kind of been this almost a consensus that we're going a little bit too far, right? We're already starting to go a little bit too far. And I know that people have mentioned, are we headed for dystopia, right? A high-tech dystopian world. So as I've been doing a little bit of reading across the internet on these topics, I came across this article, Sci-Fi Eye, Why a Dystopian Future Isn't Inevitable. A bleak dystopian future isn't inevitable. Resident science fiction writer Gareth L. Powell offers a more encouraging vision of how technology and engineers might shape our grandchildren's world. And just so you all know, this was written in March of 2020. And this is an engineer dedicated site for engineers. So this is coming from the perspective of a science fiction writer and also engineer as well. We live in a time of great uncertainty. With a rising population and changing climate, and many worst-case projections seem increasingly likely to come to pass. But that doesn't mean we should give up hope. After all, engineering is all about finding solutions to problems, and what greater problem could we face than the extinction of our species? Yeah, that's a pretty big problem, right? To counter all the doom and gloom, I decided this month to look ahead to a world where political and industrial inertia have been conquered and engineers set free to tackle the challenges ahead. So come with me to the world of 2100 AD. Many of our children and grandchildren are still alive and have families of their own right now, but their way of life is as different to ours as ours is to that of the Victorians. Cities are greener spaces. Trees line the center of every street. Vertical gardens adorn the south side of every building, and solar panels cover every roof. There's very little traffic noise or pollution because all the cars are self-driving electric models, and most people travel by clean and affordable public transport. Much of the green belt surrounding the cities has been turned over to agriculture, much of which is fully automated, while huge reforestation programs have returned the wilds of Wales, Scotland, and the Lake District to the densely wooded state they enjoyed in the wake of the last ice age, before they were cleared to make way for livestock grazing. You certainly don't see many cows, chickens, sheep, or pigs anymore. 99% of the meat in our diet is grown in vats, cloned from the finest animals and produced with minimal environmental impact. It's also healthier, requiring fewer of the medicines and hormones currently pumped into our food animals. International travel is also rarer than before. Business can be done online and via video link. There are still a few airliners, but they now use biofuels. The majority of passengers and freight travel via airship or wind-powered sea-going vessels. Overhead, vast tissue-thin orbital mirrors reduce the amount of heat reaching the Earth from the sun. Space tourism never really took off, if you'll pardon the pun. But microgravity turned out to be a great place for science and manufacturing, and there are now several large commercial and governmental space stations in orbit, along with power satellites that collect the sun's rays and beam them down to Earth as microwaves to collectors on the equator that then make them available as clean, unlimited electrical power. Looking down from one of these satellites, parts of the Pacific and the Sahara shimmer with huge solar farms. Floating wind turbines harvest the jet streams, and even the ocean's tides provide us with the energy we need. But it isn't all good news. Some climate change was inevitable. It took us too long to act and respond. Storms are worse and more frequent. New York now exists below sea level, protected from inundation by a huge seawall. Other cities have been less fortunate. Venice has become a modern-day Atlantis, and much of central London floods twice a day at high tide. But people are adapting. Huge infrastructure projects aim to reclaim land from the sea. Climate refugees move north from the scorching equator, seeking shelter in the newly temperate open spaces of Russia and Canada. The population of Greenland is rising at an incredible rate, and there are even some hardy souls scraping a living from the exposed soil on the fringes of Antarctica. A failed attempt to colonize Mars has shown the world's billionaires that it's easier to terraform the Earth than try to adapt the red planet to our needs. And one thing on this, y'all. I've recently started reading Cyber magazine, and they have some really interesting things in here about billionaires wanting to go to space, right? And so one thing that they mention in here, and I didn't know this, but Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk, they have different approaches to how they want to get humans into space, right? And so one thing that Jeff Bezos, his idea is that humans will kind of be floating in space on these space shuttles, right? And Elon Musk, as we all know, has a mission to Mars, to put humans on Mars. And Elon Musk said here in regards to the idea of people living on space shuttles in space, he was saying something to the degree that building it's the equivalent to trying to build the USA in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. Is his idea of putting people in the middle of space on these space shuttles. But I think this is really interesting, and I know can be difficult to think of a brighter future. I know we, especially in crypto, we talk about Citadels. And one thing that I've said to Creo many times is people think that the Citadel are going to be these, moat protected castles and things of that nature. No, y'all, if the Citadel exists in the future, it's going to be in the sky, right? I think the Citadel would look something like the shuttle in Elysium, the movie, right? Because if you really think about it, and just talking here, I would love to hear y'all's comments about this. But so let's say these shuttles are built in the middle of space, or we get people to Mars and the Earth is going to hell, right? The Earth is going to shit. Do you really think they're going to be able to transport billions of people to this new world on Mars, or to these nice regulated shuttles in the middle of space? No. So if they're not going to put all the billions of people on Earth into these into a shuttle or onto Mars, then who's going to go? It's going to be those who have the most connections, resources, and wealth, right? So again, when I think of a dystopian future and I think of a citadel, it's going to be in the sky. It's not going to be on Earth. It's not going to be a castle or, gated community X, Y, and Z. No, the citadel will be in the sky. But not to get off there, not to get off topic there too much, but when, thinking of a dystopian high-tech future, my mind either goes to Elysium or Ready Player One, right? But moving on, let me know what y'all think in the comments. So now they've thrown their resources into projects that benefit us all rather than just themselves, including the development of artificial intelligence capable of regulating the earth as a single organism, moving food, clean water, and other assets to where they are needed, while simultaneously managing the balance of gases in our atmosphere through carbon capture projects, and the global mean temperature through the manipulation of those solar mirrors I mentioned earlier. Another thing, going back to the Cyber magazine, I thought it was interesting, kind of this idea that humans, we have a need to explore, and it kind of makes sense that at some point in the future, we will inhabit other planets, moons, whatever, in space shuttles, in space, and this, that, and the other. But again, it's not going to be billions of people, right? There's billions of people on Earth, right? So we have no choice but to figure out how to make this thing work on Earth. Otherwise, it's only going to be those of a particular status who are able to go to Mars or go to these space shuttles in space, right? Let me know if you think I'm wrong there. Instead of ransacking the earth for resources and financial gain, humans have become stewards of their world, engineering the planet to keep it habitable for its 10 billion inhabitants. Yes, there are still problems, and yes, much of the above is pure speculation. But speaking as an author of two possible fates awaiting us, I know which one I would rather write about. So what I get from this article is that it really is up to us. The future doesn't have to be dystopia. It doesn't have to be, this cyber high-tech world where everything is just dystopian, right? It doesn't have to be that way. If people can work together, find these solutions. If we have billionaires focusing on what we can do now with where we are currently at, right? Instead of going to Mars or building shuttles in space. But who knows? Who knows, y'all? Let me know what y'all think in the comments. I would love to hear your perspectives on this. And I plan to do more content on this idea of, is the technology that is coming out, is it bad? Is it good? Is it neither? We're going to talk about it more. And with that, y'all, please like this video if you thought this was interesting. Like this video, subscribe, also join our Discord. Link is in the description. Join the Discord if you want to know what we're doing on a daily basis, pretty much. We're posting about crypto. We're posting about the metaverse, NFTs, all kinds of stuff in the Discord. And so with that, we'll see you in the next video.
They said